Maybe.
The beatboxing's like a Jeff thing. Is that what we should do? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because he's not here. In fact, we've replaced him with
beat, beat,
Porg.
beat, box. Beat, beat,
That's
beat,
the beatboxing?
Beatbox. And those ones best.
Good evening, everybody. It's a Thursday, and the robot says it's DB94. Right? Right.
It lies.
No, it's pretty on. But glad to be here. Hope your week was good. First things first, I am Sean Crosby.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
Jeff Solodanoho has been turned into a Porg.
Poor Jeff.
It is Jeff's birthday, and he is on a road trip. I don't know if we're going to get a call from him tonight or not. I told him it was totally up to him. So for now, he is a Porg. And we'll see how that all shakes out. Here's what you can do. You can go to kryptonradio.com and listen to us. It will automatically start playing once you go to that page. That is our mothership and home station. You can go to twitch.tv/docking_bay_94, and you can see us for what that's worth. And you can see that Jeff is a Porg. Kit Boba Kit Sovine does all of the links on both of those places. She does them on Twitch directly, or if you go to facebook.com/docking_bay_94.
If I had a stick, I could make the Porg dance in Jeff's place.
You could. I probably, if I didn't have things in front of me, I could probably totally do that. Of course, you could also knock him off the chair, which would be embarrassing. Now, I had... You do. You have a stick. That's pretty funny. I had totally set up your camera so that you were all nicely in frame and stuff.
And then I moved?
And then, no, I don't know if you moved or what happened. It just got weird. You got small. That's pretty funny.
Okay, the music's over, so I'm going to stop
rudimentary
Jeff.
puppeteering. Yeah, I don't know.
Why I got tiny?
I don't know why you got tiny. Is your chair shrinking?
I think my chair is shrinking because it's always shorter. Every time I sit down in it, I'm farther away from the desk.
That's pretty funny. You do seem awfully short.
Now I'm tall again.
Okay, and I had you very nicely in frame. I had done like a little bit of a tilt. There we go. Now you're tall again. All right. It's the basic things, really.
I don't like whatever my hair is doing, though.
Well, that's okay.
Oh wait, they don't like the white wall behind me.
They don't. Oh, is it because we moved the poster? I think I moved the poster.
Camera, so the poster is.
The poster needs to go one over to the right.
Yeah, but if it goes one over, it won't be behind me anymore.
Oh, well then I guess it won't. Yeah. I don't think you can do that from there.
I think I can.
Okay, she thinks she can.
It'll take a while.
See, this is the home decorating portion of Docking Bay 94.
Oh, it does. It is behind.
Yeah, I think I moved it because that's where my clothes are, and it's real hard to get in there. Colleen's clothes are all in one room, and my clothes are all in this room. And that hasn't been a problem until her office became in here. And now that her office... Did your chair shrink again? You just got shorter again. What is happening to you?
I am not... The chair is the same distance from the desk this time.
I mean, up and down.
I know. It's the same distance in height from the desk.
Okay. Weird. Because you just keep getting shorter and shorter. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
I could go get a phone book and sit on it.
No, it's fine. I'm just going to go back in here, and I'm going to tilt the camera again, if I can. Maybe I can't. No, it won't let me. So, you're out of luck. You just have to be short. Okay, now you just got really short. Like, even shorter. Better?
Did you move me?
That's better.
There it go. Okay.
No, that's better. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I moved my
Good.
monitor that the...
I'm sure this makes for exciting radio. So thrilling. And which is why we encourage you to watch on Twitch.
Right. Next, we will play Hand Puppet Theater.
Yay!
I don't have any hand puppets.
I don't know. We play Gnip over the monitor here.
That would be fun.
It'll be fun. Anybody remember Gnip, which
I do.
is ping pong spelled backwards because they're so creative. And you had everything was self-contained. You had these little catapult launchers that shot the balls through hoops to the other side, and you had to get all of your balls on the other person's side in order to win. But basically, it was button mashing with mechanical buttons. It's pretty funny stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, I hope
So,
your
Shawn,
week was good.
What did you do this week?
I do this week. Not get enough sleep
Okay.
is what I did. Chris Marble's listening. He says, compared to me, you're all short. What did I don't remember doing anything of note this weekend.
I don't think you did.
Or week. I don't think so either.
Oh, I went on vacation.
I did car designs. Oh, that's right. You had a staycation.
Yeah. Although I hear that staycation will get you sent to the bad place, so I don't try to use that word.
Well, we don't want you to go to the bad place.
Right. What did I sat in the wading pool and I read a book and I ate popsicles and
We beat the heat.
binged watched TV.
Yeah.
We finished up watching The Good Place, and we do you want to explain about those signs in the backyard?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I buy things on auction from time to time, and sometimes there'll be a collection of things, and you'll just want one thing that is in the auction, and then the rest of the stuff is bonus. And so I ended up with some big signs of the type that you see when you enter a town. Like if you were driving around
Like
Los Angeles International Airport and you went into El Segundo,
library.
it would have, like library, but also, the Rotary Club, the Kiwanis Club, the Lions Club, and things like that. And so some of these things were oddly shaped, and some of them are actually metal, and some of them are this sort of like heavy-duty fiberboard. And those ones have the name of the town, Wind Gap, on them. And we were buying stuff, I think, for the Haunted Mansion tea at the time. And so I came home with these things. I completely ditched the big green signposts that they come on that like every city has. I got rid of those. But I kept the signs. And Wind Gap is this town that's featured in an HBO miniseries that's called Sharp Objects. And it's an Amy Adams thing that it's a mystery. And it's dark in that Twin Peaks kind of way, without so much lighthearted stuff as Twin Peaks kind of had from time to time, which made that really fun. So this was good. I don't think it was so much fun as it was good, but it was very suspenseful and very cool, and the performances were absolutely amazing. Patricia Clarkson is in it as her mother, and she does an amazing job. And the town is very fully realized and handled well. And so we watched this series based on the fact that we had these signs, which we have now put up in our backyard. And so we have like the Wind Gap Literary Society, and things like that.
They were cool signs. So we have a Literary Society, Equestrian, AAA, and one other one.
We put up
What's the
we
big
put up
one?
3 of them.
No, we put up 4.
We did. Oh, we did.
There's a big one.
No, you're right.
and then
There's the
3
Automotive
small
Society.
ones.
That's right.
I have to look at a picture of our backyard.
Yeah, I don't remember what the other one was.
Oh my god!
But they were cool, and
losing it.
we found a way to make them stick to the stucco, which was a challenge. And they're good. But so we finally sat down and watched this series and kind of like just blasted through it. It's 8 episodes.
It's a wee bit violent.
Yeah, it is. It's based on a book by the woman who wrote Gone Girl, and it's her first book, and it's kind of dark, and but HBO, I think, did a really good job with it. And but the murder mystery, man, you don't find out
until like the last minute of the show.
right. It's like 30 seconds. Here's who did it. Roll credits, and it's like, holy crap. So like Twin Peaks, it's very much about all the characters and sort of learning about those people and why they are the way they are and things like that. And I thought it was really, really good.
Oh, American Pioneers Association.
That's
the
what it
other
was.
sign.
Yeah. So, so we watched that. We watched some episodes of the Disney Imagineering story and finished that up. We were several episodes behind in that, and that was pretty good.
Apparently, I need to move my mic closer too.
Oh, maybe I can try to boost you up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we watched so much television. So
Yeah, but it was
very
super hot, so
much
and
television.
I read a John Scalzi book, the second book in the Emperox series.
Look at you getting all literary.
Literary by reading a science fiction book. I mean, I guess. Yeah, and that was pretty much it. We left the house once. We went to the beach.
Yes, early in the morning.
Yeah, early
we
in the
went to
morning
beach
so that we wouldn't
with masks.
have to worry about standing too close to people.
So if you don't live in Southern California, let me tell you about this weekend. Saturday, we hit all sorts of records. This station, Krypton Radio, is based in North Hills, which is just a little bit north of Woodland Hills, where we do Costume College. And so North Hills got to like 112, and Woodland Hills, where we hold Costume College every year, and this was just a couple of weeks after we would have held it, were it not canceled this year. It got to 121 degrees. And so they set a new record. And a lot of places in California set a new record. And then strangely, it cooled off. And so like today, where we are, instead of being 95, which it was this past weekend, and at 95 we got lucky.
Yeah, we were so fortunate.
Right. So we were under, triple digits.
Yeah.
But so instead of 95, it was like 72 or 3 today.
And it was cold enough that this morning I was wearing a sweater. And I'm wearing jeans today. And part of that is that it was so foggy this morning that I could barely see the house across the street. And while fog in our neighborhood is not unusual, it is super unusual to have fog like that in September.
Yes.
And so I puzzled on that for a few minutes and then said, well, okay, I guess the world's just a weird place. And then I saw someone posted on Facebook that the fog is caused by the fires.
Right. And that was the other part of this weekend, is all our skies turned orange.
Yeah.
And so if you saw the latest Blade Runner movie, or you've seen, any alien planet in any sci-fi anywhere, The Martian, anything like that, we had orange skies. Here in Los Angeles, we did. They were very light orange today. We got off pretty easy today. In Central California, where they have a bunch of fires, they were all orange up there through San Francisco and the Bay Area.
I think San Francisco had red skies.
And then our friend Jeff, who is not here with us tonight, he's up in Oregon, and he drove through all of that to get to Oregon to go see our buddy Matt. And the skies were orange up there. And people were literally just walking out onto their balcony and snapping a picture and going, no filter, everything's orange. And it was crazy, just absolutely crazy. Boba Kit had record temperatures out where she's at. They got pretty high. They got up to like 117 or something like that. It was just a heck of a weekend. And not to get into the crazy discussion about this that always seems to happen when somebody brings it up at a party, but inevitably somebody will, over the course of my day, try to convince me that climate change is not a thing, and then we'll have a weekend like we just had, and I'm like, that makes a pretty good case for it being a thing. But oh my gosh, yeah, it was something. But because Colleen is a smarty every day, we had an inflatable pool to sit in. She made key lime popsicles with graham cracker crumbs all over them. We had set up the pool in such a way so that it was actually in the shade of this cover that we put. I put an easy up over the little comfy area Colleen set up, and it was actually cold in the pool.
Yeah.
We got in the pool, we were freezing.
We had put a cover over the pool that kept the water cold, like inadvertently.
It's a silver tarp, and I think it was reflecting heat instead of absorbing heat. I might replace it with something darker to see if it absorbs
Poor
heat.
Kit got stung by 2 wasps in 2 different places.
What the heck? Really?
That's what she said.
That's awful.
Ugh.
We've been getting eaten by spiders.
Yeah, I got
But wasps are awful.
12 spider bites on my right leg.
Yeah.
Or mosquitoes, not sure which, but it's probably spiders.
Well, the mosquito bites have a tendency to just be itchy little bumps, and the spider bites have a tendency to be all crusty in the middle. And they get like a little necrotic. Nothing serious, but so I think what I got was definitely spider bites. And the thing that's weird, both of us, and we sleep in the same bed, side by side. She got bit on her left side. I got bit on my left side.
No, I got bit on my right side.
I'm sorry, you're right. We both got bit on the right side. I'm looking at our screen, and I'm backwards in the screen, and I'm sorry. We both got bit on the same side of the body, which I thought was really, really weird that happened. Because I could see us getting bit on like opposite sides of the body.
Yeah, it was this weird symmetry thing.
Yeah, it's really kind of funky.
Yeah.
It's definitely been an uncomfortable weekend.
But anyway, and then so I had like 5 days off. It was amazing. And then when I went back to work with air quotes. I mean, I'm working. It's just I didn't go anywhere else.
Well, actually, you did take a trip into your former offices.
I did. Yeah, I had to run Tuesday morning.
You had to go back to work.
I had to go into the offices to let somebody in, and then it was just run all day. It was one of those. Oh, I was gone for 2 business days, and and everything stacked up pretty heavily. So yeah, that was our week. And I saw a note from Jeff saying that he's going to call in at some point.
Okay. Well, I have my phone here.
Okay.
I have the Zoom here. And we will just figure out.
So do we save the history for him, or do we just go through the history?
No, let's do it ourselves because it'll be easier.
I will say what it is, and you talk about it.
Okay.
Star Wars history. September 4th, 1977. Worldcon, a.k.a. SunCon 77, had a Hugo Award first because Star Wars wasn't eligible for the award until 1978. The voters felt compelled to award George with an outstanding contribution to the Field Award.
Well, and I think that's pretty much, it. So what Charlie Lippincott did and our friend Craig Miller did is brought Star Wars to conventions before Star Wars happened. And so in 1976, Star Wars was at San Diego Comic-Con, basically changing the face of the convention by bringing a film there before it came out, showing slides from the production, and then so they kind of ruined Comic-Con.
I was just gonna say they brought us the modern Comic-Con.
Totally.
That's
oh my
hysterical.
God, totally. And it was such a huge deal. And they were selling posters and swag and things like that. And that $1.50 poster that they sold there is now worth several $1,000s in pristine condition, and you could have bought it for $1.50 in '76.
Wow.
And it's this cool iconic poster. And then they also took it to Worldcon, which I think was in Kansas City, and they had costumes there on display at that convention, and they got everybody whipped up to go see Star Wars, which was super cool. And so to get a Hugo Award from Worldcon is pretty fitting because
I don't know whether this actually took place in 77 or 78, though.
well,
It took place in 78, so the history is really September 4th, 1978.
yeah, so that makes more sense because
Yeah.
77 they wouldn't have really been eligible for anything because the thing came out in May, and I think they
Right.
would have missed the voting on it.
Well, it said it wasn't, yeah, it just said it wasn't eligible for the award until 78.
Yeah.
Wacky. Okay. Star Wars history, September 7th, 1985. The Ewoks and Droids Adventure Hour premiered on ABC's Saturday morning cartoon block.
So the Droids cartoon series came out of the Star Wars Holiday Special. It was animated from Nelvana, who did the Boba Fett animation, and that was everybody kind of looks at the Holiday Special and thinks that the very best thing that came out of it was that Boba Fett cartoon. Even though the animation was really strange, they were all long and stretched out, and the goal was to make something that looked like heavy metal. The heavy metal movie hadn't come out yet, but they wanted something that looked like the magazine. So Mobius, the artist Mobius, was basically the guide for creating this animation. And based on that and the really great working relationship that Lucasfilm had with them, they said, well, let's do some cartoon series. And so they did Ewoks and they did Droids. And, they weren't bad. They were pretty good kids animation.
I've never seen it.
I don't know if I have them or not. I have the Ewok movies. I don't know if I have the cartoon series. And they were all right. And they spawned a very limited series of action figures. It just didn't get a lot of spread. And so when these were released in 85, Star Wars had been over for 2 years. 83 was Return of the Jedi. And so everybody was like, okay, we got a trilogy. It's all done. And then we got these cartoon series that ran for a few years, which was kind of neat.
And then the final piece of Star Wars history is September 6, 2000. Dark Horse published the first 4 Darth Maul comics. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Featuring.
Oh, okay. Featuring Maul shirtless, artist Ian McCaig assisted with concept art establishing Maul's torso tattoos.
Right. So we had seen Darth Maul in the films with just his face uncovered. Otherwise, he was completely in black. And in this case, when we saw him training and doing other things, and they had him, stripped down to the waist, you could see for the first time that the tattoo patterns on Darth Maul were continued onto the rest of his body. And as I remember the lore, and this may be wrong or it may not be canon anymore or whatever, it was Darth Maul's tattoos were like a commitment by him to the dark side of the Force. That may have changed with the Clone Wars cartoon series because we met his brother who also had similar face markings.
But was yellow for some reason.
He was yellow, yeah. And so, but Ian McCaig, who did original Darth Maul designs to create the character, then came back and helped this comic book. Since it was his character, they said, well, why don't you do it? And so you got something very consistent with what had been in the movie. He got to sort of round out his character just a little bit more. It was kind of a neat thing, and it was sort of a big deal. Whenever somebody does something in Star Wars or any property, or contributes to Star Trek or something, and then gets to come back and add more to their characters that they did, that's always kind of cool, I think. Especially when they think they're done, and it's like, oh, cool, I can do more. It's kind of a fun thing.
Right. Moving right along. D23, the Disney fan club, is hosting an Empire Strikes Back drive-in at the Rose Bowl tomorrow. The Rose Bowl here in Pasadena.
Right. And so this is the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. Officially back in May, but the Star Wars celebration that was supposed to happen this past month and didn't, of course, for obvious reasons. They were supposed to have this big celebration of The Empire Strikes Back. And so instead, Disney's trying to find some other things to do. So the Rose Bowl, which was sort of our home stadium for a while, Colleen and I, who lived in Pasadena, and she lived in La
I grew up in La
Cañada.
Cañada. Yeah.
That they usually do things like fireworks on 4th of July, where they pack the seats and they do all sorts of things. So it's a pretty sizable place, and of course, it has a regulation-size football field in the middle of it. And it sounds like what they're doing is setting up the field so that you could drive your car in and park it and watch
I
the
thought they were
movie.
just doing it in the parking lot.
I don't know. I'm trying to find out.
Well, so the tickets are $50 for a car, for as many people as you can stuff into your car, but you're not allowed to get out of the car.
So it's not cost effective for us.
Well, yeah, so it would be $25 each for us. Family of 4 might work, but remember, you can't get out of the car, so it's not like you could jam the football team in.
Yeah. Well, and specifically
Shouldn't
it
be with the
says
football team
no
anyway.
sitting outside the vehicle. You can actually get out to go to the bathroom, and you can get out to get snacks.
Right, but they have no congregating. You must wear face coverings. Restrooms are at 50% capacity, and physical distancing will be enforced. No alcohol, and you're playing the music through your FM station.
Which means that your car has to have a resilient enough battery to last a 2-hour movie with the stereo going.
I was going to say that it wouldn't be dark enough at 7 p.m., but it's 7:27 and it's plenty dark out.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. If you
So-
guys are watching us on Twitter or on Twitch rather, and you look at Jeff's thing with the Porg, you can see the curtains parted and that black line to the left of the Porg. That's the night sky outside the window. So it got dark pretty fast because when we started the show, it was light.
Sunset in Pasadena tomorrow is actually 7:04 p.m. So it's actually going to be light still when they're
I
showing
don't
this.
see
But it'll be yellow.
that it says anywhere that it's in.
So
The parking lot.
somewhere else, I saw a photo, and it did not look like it was on the grass. It looked like it was in the parking lot.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, that would make sense. They have a pretty sizable parking lot. Didn't you learn to drive in that parking lot?
I did.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a sizable parking lot.
Yep.
I don't know.
Actually, I learned how to drive a stick in that parking lot. I already knew how to drive. Okay, so there is a Baby Yoda, the child headband at Walt Disney World.
It's cute.
Yes. I'm trying to see whether it's child size or adult size.
I think it's adult-sized.
Yeah, it looks a little big when they put it on Baby Yoda toys.
Yeah. So it's I think it's a pretty standard. Like they have a lot of Minnie Mouse ones
Yeah.
that they do.
Well, the headbands are super popular.
Yeah, and it's cute. It's not bad.
Yeah.
But it kind of like you're wearing a head on your head
Right.
as opposed to like one that just has like Yoda ears on it. This is like a little baby
His
Yoda
little
head
face.
with his ears sticking off of it.
Yeah.
Or her. We don't know.
True. Entertainment Weekly had a first look at The Mandalorian and showed pictures of the next season. I'm kind of bummed because we get Entertainment Weekly, which is actually should be renamed to Entertainment Monthly because
Right, 'cause
they only come
do
out
it
once a month now.
Once a month.
But we don't have this issue yet.
No, you would think that they would get it to us before they put this stuff up online.
Yeah,
That otherwise, why are we subscribing, right?
exactly.
But it does show the exemplary work of Shauna Chirpchick and company.
Yeah.
She's been really excited about it. She designed costumes for like Buffy and Firefly and Angel and things like that. And so it's neat to get a look at her work in advance. And but yeah, I saw this thing hit, and I'm like, what about us? Where's our magazine?
Yeah.
When the magazine was weekly, it wasn't a problem because we
Right, 'cause
usually
they
got
come
them at
out-
the same time.
Yeah. Or
But-
it would come out like a day or two later.
Yeah, but now that they drag their feet, it's like kind of a drag.
And the final bit of Star Wars info that we have to talk about is that Mattel is has a Babu Frick toy now. And Babu Frick was the cutie from the last Star Wars movie.
Right. He was the one who was voiced by Moaning Myrtle.
Right.
And who was cute. But he was the one who turned C-3PO all evil so that they could get the location of the Sith stuff. And it looks pretty cute. They did an interesting thing where he's like half soft goods and half molded vinyl. So like his head and his helmet and stuff are molded vinyl, and then his body is all soft goods.
I wonder how well he stands up, though.
I don't know.
I feel like he would have a tendency to fall over.
He's very short. His feet are kind of big, so I guess if they load him with shot and make him heavy, he might stand up. But he comes with his little weldy torch in his hand, and he says like 6 different things, which are cool. And the guy who worked on him, he's a pretty new hire to Mattel. And basically the first 2 things he got to do was this and Baby Yoda.
Wow.
And it's like, wow, that's jumping in with both feet. That's pretty cool stuff. So you can pre-order this on Target right now. And I think it comes out at the end of October. And they don't appear to be sold out. Release date, Saturday, October 17th. Is when you'll get it if you pre-order it. But yeah, they show it standing up okay. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But he's cute and he talks.
It's all you want in a toy, right?
Yeah. He could live in my car. That would be awesome.
Right. Except you already have so many things.
If only he could fix my car.
That would be great. Moving on to theme parks. Most of what we have to talk about is in Florida. Mm-hmm. And the first thing is pretty standard, but somebody got a video of some of the feral cats that live in the Disney parks.
The working cats?
The working cats, yeah. They were on top of the building of Mission Space.
Yeah.
And it's a cute little video of the cats sort of pacing around on the roof.
That's cool. Well, you gotta, if you're there to find critters, I guess you gotta go everywhere.
Yeah. And then Coca-Cola has these beverage carts that are around Galaxy's Edge. And apparently, in Florida at least, they had put Gold Squadron Lager beer in those same droid stands with the Coca-Cola.
They did, yeah.
And Coca-Cola said, no.
Well,
please don't do that.
One of the problems is, first off, Coca-Cola is like really all about their brand, and they want to make sure that other beverages aren't being sold.
Well, and
I
it's not
I totally
a Coca-Cola
get that.
product.
Right.
And the droid cart says Coca-Cola right on it.
Well, and I'm also wondering if they didn't sponsor those, if they didn't like pay for those carts.
They must have, because otherwise they wouldn't say Coca-Cola on them.
Right.
They'd say beverages.
And so, you
like
can get
that.
Sprite and Diet Coke and Dasani. And that's the way it is here in Southern California. But then in Florida, they added this lager. And I think what their fallback position is, and what they did before when they did it off of tap, if you went across from the milk stand, there was a place that had a tap, and you could buy a glass of it for that. Now, it's $14 for a beer.
Yeah.
That seems a little excessive. But if you need a beer, you can still get it. It's just not out of those carts. And I think Coke is
don't know
totally...
that they're actually selling them off of the cart. Because in the article, they have a picture of the Coke cart, which says Coca-Cola on it and has the droid. And then next to that cart, there's a little stand that has the display of the beverages and the prices and stuff. And you can imagine that the register is in that stand. And then there's another photo that shows the cast member with a tap for the beer that they're selling.
Right.
And it's not part of the cart. But I guess Coca-Cola doesn't want it sold in the same transactions.
I see a sign. No, what it looks like happened is they had a tap behind the cart.
Yeah.
And so it looked like it was coming from the cart when it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And the one across from the that came across from the milk cart has like a joystick looking pull tap handle, and it's very cool. The ones that were done at the Coke cart were a little more low profile than that. It looked like they just had like a button to sort of serve it off.
Now they're not serving walk around alcoholic beverages in California, right? Well, I mean,
No.
if we were open.
No.
Okay.
They can't because it's in Disneyland.
Yeah.
There's this line that exists that you can't sell alcohol except for like Club 33 in Waltz Park.
Yeah, but they have it at Galaxy's Edge.
They have it at Galaxy's
But
Edge.
it's in the
in the cantina. You cannot leave with it. And
Yeah.
so they're subcontracting to like another company to provide that, and that's sort of a loophole that they observe. But if you go to California Adventure, because that's not Waltz Park, you can get wine,
Right,
you can
yeah.
get beer, you can get whatever. But apparently there's just sort of this basic guideline that says, Walt said no once.
Yeah.
And so you can't do it. Unlike, we grew up going to Busch Gardens, which was built around
Well,
the
that's
brewery.
a beer theme park.
Right. And beer was everywhere, and it was pretty funny. So
Actually, speaking of Busch Gardens, I'm going to bring up something else that happened in Florida,
Sure.
which is that furloughed employees from Busch Garden and SeaWorld, because they still have a Busch Garden in Florida, apparently, they received a memo that told them that the benefits package for employees who are laid off, so their their severance policy, would be changing.
okay.
And 2 days after this memo was sent out, they had a huge round of layoffs.
Wow.
So basically, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to give you severance," and then laid them off.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
That's just mean.
Right. September 4th.
Wow.
And apparently Busch Gardens and SeaWorld are owned by the same company. And I can't read the rest of the article because the Tampa Bay Times wants me to subscribe to it, and I don't want to.
Paywall.
Yep.
Boo.
Anyway, so that just sucked.
Well, the SeaWorld people, I have the article open here. It seems to be letting me read it. The people
Nice for
from
you.
SeaWorld, I opened it in an incognito window, and that seemed to do the trick. It says there was basically no communication from the start, and it went from like one email a month to nothing, and then they got this big communication, and then they got booted. 1,896 employees at SeaWorld Orlando, Discovery Cove, and Aquatica, and another 948 in Tampa. And it also includes people who are doing animal care and training. But mostly it was like restaurants and things like that. Now, something like this happened to me with the Battleship Iowa, where we were furloughed for a while. Mm-hmm. I don't think they were paying anybody, but they're like, oh, everything's
Yeah, but
cool.
they didn't promise you severance.
They
and
didn't
then-
promise us severance, right?
And then changed it. That was what the big deal was.
I got a thing in the mail that I guess they'd had a meeting and they said, okay, we're just letting everybody go. And that was kind of a drag. And they did call everybody into a meeting, apparently, to tell them. And I didn't get the memo, so.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been different if you had, but you don't work there enough to make a difference anyway.
No, I don't. But my point being, a lot of companies are doing that.
Yeah.
What's not cool is that they changed the policy 2 days before they fired people.
Yeah.
And that really wasn't cool. And they're a right-to-work state, apparently.
Like California.
Yeah, and so they can do it. It's legal. It's whatever.
It just bites.
But there are people who are like our age, there's a guy here, he's 52. He says, I'm a senior technician. I have so much information in my head. I was one of the top performers in the department, and I was expecting to be called back.
Yeah. Wow.
And he got apparently 4 weeks of pay instead of what they had originally promised to give. So that's lame.
On happier news, Disney World in Florida is going to have their holiday decor up between November 6th and December 30th. It's kind of weird that they're not leaving it up for New Year's Eve.
Well, maybe they're not going to have a New Year's Eve party.
Oh, right.
I mean, most of those, after dark kind of things have been canceled. And you certainly don't want an event where people are going to come try to get blitzed and then celebrate. Yeah. And there will be no masking and there will be no social distancing.
Right. There's a really, I guess it's a picture from years past of one of their trees decorating the Wilderness Lodge. Mm-hmm. And it's very pretty.
That's cool. Wilderness Lodge looks like a neat place to stay.
I really have always wanted to see Wilderness Lodge even.
Well, next time we go, let's make it a
that was the one thing that got cut this time. Something always gets cut because, you run out of time and stuff like that. And I scheduled too many things in one day.
As you do.
I do. I have a bad habit.
When we were in Paris, we ditched an entire day because we had done so much stuff. Colleen's like, we're not doing anything today.
What I did was the last 3 days of our vacation, I cut our planned activities in half. And so the first day that I cut the activities in half, we just stayed in bed half the day.
Oh my gosh, and we were still crazy busy.
Anyway, Florida is bringing back Build-A-Saber on September 20th. So that's nice.
Yeah, the Build-A-Saber thing was the thing that we were planning to do the weekend that Disneyland got shut down. And Colleen had given me for Christmas the Spira coins to go pay for this. And so I had $200 worth of Spira coins to go in. And our friend Amy was going to come with us, and she's a great photographer, and we were going to go build this thing. And, of course, because of COVID, because it is so hands-on, when they reopened in Florida, they got rid of that portion of it, but they took what they call the legacy sabers, that are the replica sabers from the Star Wars films, and they put them in Savis instead. And so now you can make an appointment to go in there, look at sabers, and choose, so that they don't have a lot of people pawing over them, and everybody's touching them and getting in people's ways.
Is Build-A-Droid already open?
I think Build-A-Droid didn't close.
Yeah.
What they did do is they put dividers, and they did a bunch of spacing things, because a lot of that goes through like a conveyor belt in front of you, and then you can have help from a person to do it, but they can stand apart from you, and they put plexiglass dividers around everything, and so that worked pretty well. This is a room where everybody sits in stands in a big circle, and they get trays of parts from people, and they're helped by these gatherers to put the lightsabers together. And I think if they properly space it, I think you could get maybe 16 people in there who are actively building a lightsaber. And if they space it properly, they could do maybe 8. And they used to let you take one person with you. I don't know if they'll still let you do that. But
they used to let you take 2 people.
Oh, 2 people? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Then
they definitely won't let you take 2 people.
So they're going to cut that down and see, and reservations are still required, and they've made some updates to the legacy sabers, like their new Ahsoka ones coming out and things like that, but the Savi stuff should be exactly the way it was before. They're just finding a way to make it safer to do it, and it is one of the things that people have been requesting to be able to come in and do, because it was a pretty huge draw, and I was pretty excited to go do it. And it was definitely one of those things that I wouldn't buy for myself, but Colleen did. Colleen got it for me, and so I'm still sitting on those gift cards, and I'll get to use them eventually.
Yeah.
We'll
So
see.
moving along to California theme parks, Knott's Berry Farm, which is the closest theme park to Disneyland physically, has come up with a way to kind of recoup a few of their losses. And they're doing something that Disney hasn't done, and that's that they're setting up festivals in their shopping area. So what they did was they expanded. They have an outside the park shopping area, similar to the way Downtown Disney is. And what they did was they opened up the Old West part of the park. They didn't open any of the rides, so the theme park isn't open and the shopping isn't open, but they put food booths around and tables and chairs all socially distanced and have invited people to purchase tickets. Last weekend, I think, was a berry festival, and you could buy berry-themed food with this ticket. And now they've just announced that they're doing Taste of Falloween, and they're advertising it as family-friendly. Basically, for $35 an adult, you can buy these cards to get you 5 tasting items from these various things. So it's much like how Disney has their food festivals. It's like that, except it's just like that. And they're able to do it because it would be like if Disney held it in Downtown Disney and in the area between the parks. They're not letting people on anything.
Right.
So they're not, like, they didn't open the bowling alley at Disneyland. There's not a bowling alley at Knott's. And then Disneyland Resort has installed self-pay parking kiosks. And these are in the Simba lot, which is the one, according to Kit, it's the one next to the Disneyland Resort and the Paradise Pier hotels. Right now they have parking with manned attendants.
Is that the usual downtown? Oh, no.
It's the one, we've only been in it once. We went in recent years.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
And, well,
And you have
parking,
to walk forever to get there?
parking has been free for Downtown Disney, so I guess that's changing now.
Probably, although
you have to
currently,
pay
if
again?
you look at Downtown Disney, they just posted like some new rules for Downtown Disney.
Yeah.
And that's not the parking lot they direct you to.
Oh,
Let me see if I can figure out.
interesting. Because there's the usual parking lot that we park in over by what used to be the ESPN zone and the Rainforest Cafe. And you would walk in between them to get there. That's not the lot I'm talking about. There's like another lot that...
No, and this isn't even the one that's between those parking structures and Downtown Disney. It's on the other side.
Huh.
Well, yeah, I just read...
I guess the bottom line
no.
is that they're going to start charging you for parking again. Which
Apologize. Parking is at the Simba lot only. So they are going to be charging for parking again.
So that's a bummer.
Yeah, I guess they have to make money where they can because they're losing it hand over fist.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Trailers. So 2 trailers this week. The first one is Dune.
Dune?
Which I almost didn't watch because I hesitate to admit this on the air, but I don't like Dune. Didn't like the book, and I only read the first book. I didn't read the entire trilogy, and haven't liked any of the movies. So I went ahead and watched the trailer, and wow, it looks good.
Yeah, it does look pretty good.
It's got a pretty good cast, too. And I mean, the one in the 80s had a good cast, but they looked
Well,
ridiculous.
the problem is that that was the movie that
David Lynch
David
directed.
Lynch made instead of making Return of the Jedi, which would have been interesting. So yeah, it's a wacky.
So some of the
Wacky
people
thing.
that stand out when you look at the cast are Zendaya, Timothy Chalamet, Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin, Dave Bautista, Oscar Isaac, Stellan Skarsgård, Javier Bardem, Charlotte Rampling, and those are the main people that really stand out to me.
Yeah, I mean it looks pretty great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Jeff in over here. He's
Having trouble?
trying to zoom in, and I don't have any audio for him. I have it open,
Oh.
and it should be, we should be able to hear the same way we were able to hear our music when we started. That's the deal.
I don't hear him.
I don't. He's on his phone, and it should
But
be
yeah,
okay.
it should work the same way that it does when he calls in from home.
Exactly.
Weird.
Shouldn't be a problem. So, Jeff's microphone is not on. If you can hear me, Jeff, you have a mute icon next to your window. A little red.
Good grief.
Hey, there you go. All right.
God, freaking phone, Zoom.
I'm doing all this stuff thinking it's me, and it's really Jeff. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're currently registered on screen as a porg. Let me fix that.
I figured as much.
Let's see. There you go. You're mostly in screen.
Yeah, it's handheld and yeah.
No, that's cool. No worries. How's your trip going?
Good.
Wait, happy birthday!
Huh?
Happy birthday!
Oh, thank you.
Did you do anything cool for your birthday beyond being on the trip?
Well, we went to something falls. I can never remember what it's called.
Multnomah?
Yeah.
Melanoma Falls. Rusty's Melanoma
yeah.
Walk.
Yeah. We went there, and then we went to this little, I guess probably the opposite side of the highway that it was on. That was Rooster Rock, whatever. But I think Rooster Rock itself was actually the other side of the freeway from us. So we were on the side with the river. Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good.
So we were right next to Washington, like right at the border of Washington and Oregon. And then we went off to Portland and it's kind of, I don't know, wandered. I don't know.
Did you go to the giant bookstore?
We tried. They were actually closed unless you were there just to pick something up. You couldn't go in.
Oh. Well, I guess that
Yeah.
makes sense.
It was massive. We saw Powell's. It was cool, but it was just, yeah. And it's like, we can't go in. I'm like, oh, that's kind of blows. But so,
Well, if it helps, Sean and I weren't able to go in when we went to Portland either.
No.
see,
Yeah.
It wasn't closed, but Sean was.
I was so
Oh,
sick.
dear.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Sean was in the hospital.
Yeah,
when
we
when
need
went
to go
Portland.
back there because we didn't really get the full experience. We got the perfect experience for both the ER and for urgent care.
Yeah.
That we got. And we went to Vancouver,
man.
Washington. We had to cross into another state to go do that. But yeah, I've been seeing all your pictures. They look pretty amazing, and it looks like
Yeah.
you're having a. Did you have to walk around with your head lowered in the submarine, or was it a pretty good?
no, the sub, which was the blueback sub. Actually, I didn't. I was fine in there with height. Height
Wow.
wasn't really a problem. It was it was going through the hatches though that you had to duck down to get to the hatches.
Right. The Battleship
but they were
Iowa is that
walking
way
around.
too. You got to duck
Yeah.
to get in, and then once you're in a room, you're like, hey, lots of space.
Yeah, it basically had a huge they had a staircase and an entry that went into the side of the sub, like which is not where you would normally go in to get in the sub. If you were getting in, trying to go in the side.
Right.
So I think they just like, I don't know what they did. Maybe there was like some sort of builder's hatch or something that was there once. I don't know, but it was really cool. We got
Right on.
walk around and see the mess hall and crew quarters and everything else, and where they pilot the ship and all that fun stuff. It was awesome.
So you can't see any of this because you're doing this on your phone, but everybody in the chat has been saying happy birthday. So lots of wishes for there. And yeah, so you left Southern California, which is on fire. You went through Central California, which is on fire. You got to Oregon, which is on fire.
Yeah.
Do you get a feeling that this might not have been the right time to take this trip?
That's sort of a trend, really, we were going for. No, we originally planned to go this weekend and set it all up and got the time off and everything else. And so we just decided to go because we found it from Matt that the Firehead wasn't where they are, and it isn't. And where places we planned to go were still fine. So we hopped in the car and drove up, and then we found out that at least one of the places we were going to go is not there anymore.
Oh, geez.
Yikes.
And fire. Yeah, we were going to go to Silver Falls, and the fire started creeping up on that, so they closed it. So, yeah, Detroit Lake was the other place that was toast. So, yeah, I think plus I wanted also to go to the theme park called Enchanted Forest, and that's over by here, and they usually are closed right after September,
Right.
because of the weather. So this was really the last chance to go to it this year. So, yeah.
Now, is it a
So I finally
proper
went tomorrow.
is it a proper theme park, or is it one of those trees of mystery kind of roadside attractions?
No, it's a theme park. They built the whole thing up. I guess the closest thing you could say to it would be like maybe Santa's Village. Maybe would be the closest thing you could come to it.
Okay, well that's kind of like what I'm thinking of. Yeah, but they have a couple of rides and things.
Yeah,
But
they
we're
go
not
like,
talking like Six Flags level.
Well, I guess no.
Okay.
They have a log ride. They have toboggan roller coaster ride. Haunted house. There's couple other rides. Yeah.
And get a cookie from the Good Witch's Bakery.
Yeah, there was a good witch. Yeah.
That's cool.
But it's pretty cool.
Well,
So we're going there tomorrow.
okay. Before we talk about that a little more, we hit the top of the hour over here. So I will remind all y'all that this is KryptonRadio.com. That's our radio side. We have twitch.tv/docking_bay_94. You can get there to watch us. And the show is Docking Bay 94. I'm Sean Sean Crosby.
Jeff Soledano.
Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And thanks for being here. All of our links and stuff, if you are seeing them over on Twitch or on Facebook.com/DockingBay94 Radio Show, it's all one big long word. Those are the links that we're talking about here on the show, and Boba Kit Sovine is putting all of those up. So do check those out, and you will be as informed as we are. Hopefully.
Oh dear.
So tomorrow for you, Jeff, is Astoria?
Yeah. It depends on what happens because our appointment to get into Enchanted Forest, you have to buy tickets ahead of time for a specified time.
Oh.
Is 11:30. And you get like about 3 hours of the park total. So, to get to Astoria, from here, it's about a 2-hour drive.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
We may or may not go tomorrow because of the fact that when we get out of the other one, we'd get there like at 5 or something, or I don't know, like 4 maybe. So if anything, we might even push it out to Saturday because that way it will be able to leave and go out there early and come back and still be good. So
okay.
Either way, still plan. I do want to go there. Just have to work it out.
Yeah, there's a lot to sort out, and I would recommend if you were gonna go through this, but I don't know if you're taking the coast back or what you're doing. But if you find yourself in Coos Bay, that's where Timothy Zahn lives, Star Wars author, and his local bookstore is like a shrine to him, which is really pretty funny. And so you can get like all of his old books, and a lot of them are signed. And there's an insane candy store there, and Colleen and I had a really good time.
It was fun
when we went there, and so that's worth doing. But that would be something that you would find if you went. You would be driving along the coast to see that, as opposed to taking the interior route.
Gotcha.
So, which if you've never done that ride along the coast, it's actually really cool.
Well, the last time that we went along the coast was a number of years ago when we drove up, but we didn't go to Oregon. We just went up California coastline to like about San Francisco level and came back. So
yeah, and it's more work than taking the freeway, but it's also like, so from Astoria, it's a 5-hour drive to Coos Bay to go south.
Gotcha.
And if you take the route home along the coast, you have to add a lot of time to your driving because it's all twisty, curvy, slow stuff.
I think what we're going to end up doing is going to, I think we're going to do try to hit Crater Lake on the way back.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be more. That's a more inland route, we took in, but it's also faster.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, did you watch the Dune trailer?
Strangely, yeah. Yes, I did.
What'd you think?
Matt showed it. He's like, look, and he showed it on his phone because I hadn't seen it yet.
Nice.
It looks kind of neat. It's hard to, I don't know what the best way to take from it. Compared to the David Lynch one, I mean, it looks like a vastly different movie,
Yeah.
It looks like something I could enjoy more than the previous versions.
Yeah. I mean, and I didn't see a sandworm in this trailer, so.
Oh, it was then you didn't watch it all the way through.
Yeah.
Or maybe I probably missed part of it.
Watching it on your phone or something, and you couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little disappointed with the sandworm rendering. Because I always liked that sort of it's kind of had that Stranger Things like flower petal opening up kind of a deal. It looked really scary and weird.
Like the Tremors monsters.
Yeah,
same thing.
Yeah, and so going back to the books in like the 1960s, they looked like that and they were cool. But this one kind of just looks like a big butthole.
Oh, no.
It's like, it's not impressive. It's large, but it's not impressive.
Okay.
And I'm like,
I'll I'll have to watch it again then.
Yeah,
But,
watch it because it's totally at the end
okay.
of the trailer, and I've gotten so worried that I'm going to miss stuff like that I watch all the trailers to the end and stuff like that. And we were doing that with this show that we just watched this last week, which was called Sharp Objects, which was this Amy Adams miniseries on HBO. And
Okay.
you kind of like fast forward through the credits just in case. And in the case of this show, the first 7 episodes they did nothing in the credits, and then the last episode they had 2 things in the credits. And that's kind of a jerk move.
Yeah. Well, we hope you've been paying attention to the credits all the way through here with nothing.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, jerks. But, so we've gotten really cautious about that. So, yeah, totally watch that trailer again. Watch it all the way to the end. Because you missed a chunk of it.
Yeah, I was like bits in here and there, but on the phone, too. It's not fun. Yeah.
Moving on to the other trailer, Disney Plus has a trailer of a new movie called Clouds, which is about a young man's decision on how to treat his cancer and his relationship with a young woman.
It's not about hacking people's iPhones and stealing their pictures?
No. Not at all.
I haven't watched it. Is that who's in that? Because it kind of looks like Hayden Christensen or something, but I can't know who that is.
I don't think so. Hang on, I will look it up. I am DB Clouds. It is no one. Oh, Nev Campbell.
Oh, okay.
Is the only name that I recognize.
No.
The young man is named Finn Argus, and the young woman is named Sabrina Carpenter.
Finn Argus.
Wow, yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Finn Argus.
Yep, don't know him.
Well, that's better than Scut Farkas.
Who's actually very nice in real life. The actor.
Which is good. That's really good. You know what's been really funny is that if you asked me to identify Ralphie from the Christmas Story movie, like now as an adult, I totally couldn't do it. And so he has been showing up in movies. Like, I think he was in like a Marvel movie or something. And it's like, what?
Nice.
Really? Yeah. And it's just kind of like, no way. Because, of course, he looks nothing like he did when he was a little kid.
Yeah.
That's super funny.
There's like a video, or sorry, documentary, whatever you want to call it, but it's part of the Blu-ray if you get it for Christmas Story, and they're basically an interviewer that you don't see or hear or see because they're answering questions to the missing interviewer.
That's
and
really
they're
funny.
all there, like Scott and everybody.
So Peter Billingsley is such a kind of unassuming looking guy now. He's got the same eyes, which is really interesting. Yeah. But he actually kind of looks like Ted McGinley, maybe, is who I'm thinking of from Happy Days.
Really?
And so
yeah.
He was a producer on things like Iron Man. So like actually being, making these movies happen. And then he had a role in Spider-Man Far From Home. He's a guy who used to work for Tony Stark and got hosed by Tony Stark and is now like the second in command for Jake Gyllenhaal. And so the guy that he keeps yelling at to do stuff is Ralphie from A Christmas Story.
What the heck, really?
Yeah, it's super funny.
So then did he have a part in the first Iron Man then?
I think
That's
he.
the same guy I'm thinking
I
of,
think
but-
he did. I'm running through his credits here to see if he did. Yeah, He was the same guy in Iron Man.
Yeah. Okay.
The same
Nice.
character.
Okay. Then, yeah.
He was also
Then I know who that is.
he was also an elf in Christmas Story. He was Ming Ming in Christmas in I'm sorry, in the movie Elf. He
Yeah.
was Ming Ming.
Yeah. So he's one of the elves, basically.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
like.
That's awesome. Anyway, total sidetrack, but
That's cool then.
we just recently watched all the Marvel movies, and it was really funny to look this guy up, going, "Where do I know him from?" And it's like, holy crud, it's Ralphie. Anyway,
Awesome.
All right. Well, Sean, do you wanna take the next?
I do. I got a couple of
Bit.
in memoriam pieces here.
I know.
Annie Cordy passed away at the age of 92. She had a 66-year career in entertainment. She was in more than 50 films and TV series, and even topped the record charts with The Ballad of Davy Crockett. And she is probably best known for doing, in the Disney realm of things, for doing Pocahontas's grandmother Willow.
Oh.
And she did
Okay.
French translations of these things and whatnot. So, like the song that she did that was the Ballad of Davy Crockett, she did the French version of it and hit #1 with it, like in France, which is really funny. But yeah, so sad to hear of her passing. She'd been pretty busy. Bruce Williamson passed away at the age of 49. He was a lead singer for the Temptations for a while, and he got COVID-19 and passed away from that. So everybody's kind of
I was confused about how he could be a lead singer for the Temptations. At
right.
his
So
age.
so to explain that the Temptations, which were very popular in the 60s and 70s, the group still maintains, and they swap people in and out. And like you remember the Adventures of Mark and Brian, they got to be Temptations for a day. That was like almost a completely different crew of the Temptations, because kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters and things like that, or the Duke Ellington Band is a really great example, where the Duke Ellington Band was around in the 1940s, but it still exists today, and as somebody leaves the band, they find their own replacement. They find someone they think is as good as them and can play in the style that Duke Ellington is known for, which is really cool. And so they do the kind of thing with the Temptations where people come and go, and so him being only, 50 years old, it's because he was a later replacement in the band. And the Temptations can go on indefinitely that way, and you'll still get the same experience of the band, which is like a show band because they've got lots of choreography and they have a canon of songs that they sing. You'll get pretty much the same experience. It's just new personnel, and so it's kind of an interesting thing. And he replaced singers who had been with the band for like 30 years when he did it.
Gotcha.
Kevin Dobson passed away at the age of 77. He was best known for being a sort of TV guest star, did a lot of stuff. He was in Knots Landing. He did 5 years as Telly Savalas' partner Crocker in Kojak, and did TV movies after the series ended with Kojak, which was cool. And but yeah, so you really either know him from Kojak or from Knots Landing. And then, of course, the big one that was the news to which we awoke this morning, Dame Diana Rigg passed away at the age of 82. You know her from the Avengers, if you're an old guy like me, and you know her from Doctor Who and from Game of Thrones, if you're younger than that. She took over for Honor Blackman in the Avengers, and the interesting thing about Mrs. Peel was that she was a Mrs. So she was running around with John Steed, but she was a hands-off, non-romantic interest because her husband was missing, and she was holding fast that her husband would reappear at some point. And so there wasn't that weird, will they, won't they kind of goofy tension that a lot of shows have and try to fabricate. She was just there to do her job as an agent, which was pretty cool. And of course, she did it in tight, shiny leather catsuits and set fashion trends for doing that. But she played James Bond's wife, the only woman to ever have married James Bond in On Her Majesty's Secret Service with George Lazenby. She took over for Vincent Price when he stepped down as the host of PBS's Mystery. Gosh, she's done so much stuff. There were so many honors bestowed on her today from all the people that she worked with. She was a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company. She was nominated for 4 Tony Awards and actually finally won one for Medea on Broadway. Just so much stuff. She said that it shocked her how quickly she became a sex symbol when she joined the Avengers. She said, I kept unopened fan mail in the boot of my car because I didn't know how to respond and thought it was rude to throw it away. Then my mother became my secretary and replied to the really inappropriate ones saying, my daughter's far too old for you. Go take a cold shower. Which is totally awesome. But the problem is that, Diana Rigg was hot. And they presented her as such, and it was like, her whole character was that, super hot spy thing that was so popular at the time the show was popular. Anyway, she's done very surprisingly little. For somebody who is so well known, she's done 70 projects. Some of them were TV series, the Diana show that was just named after her, and she was a guest in just about everything. So very sad to hear of her passing. She certainly contributed to a lot of genre and fan-related stuff and I've had so many people. We didn't watch Game of Thrones past the first couple of episodes, but I had so many people tell me that she was the best thing about that show. They just absolutely adored her character. And the thing that's funny is she could do light, fluffy stuff, and she could do comedy, and she could just bring this gravity to a role and stuff. And so she's got a couple of projects that haven't come out yet. To look at her IMDb page really quick, she's got something called Last Night in Soho, which is an Edgar Wright film. And Edgar Wright, it was the last thing she filmed. Edgar Wright is like, we had so much fun on the set. I can't believe I got to work with her. She was absolutely amazing. And there's a series coming out called Black Narcissus that's also in post-production. And then the last thing she did, the most recent thing, is All Creatures Great and Small, the redo of that show that we talked about on this show a couple of weeks ago. So she's in that.
She's Tricky Woo's mom.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. I'm so looking forward to seeing
Mrs.
that.
Pumphrey.
Yes.
So, although, is that going to cause them a problem when they want to use Tricky Woo again? Like later in the series, she's not going to be there.
I mean, she's actually, Mrs. Pumphrey is a big character in it. her pet is Tricky Woo.
Yeah.
And so,
well, Tricky Woo gets his own credit, so.
Right. Which anybody who was a All Creatures Great and Small fan that I know was like, I'm dying when we saw the trailer because everybody was like, Tricky Woo got a credit.
Anyway, Diana Rigg, very sad passing, and definitely Emma Peel was a crush when I was a kid. So, but 82 is pretty good, and Her daughter, who is also an actress and was in the same episode of Doctor Who that she was in, which was the Crimson Horror, where everybody was like turning red and blood stuff, and it was like really weird, giant vats of creepy Victorian stuff. It was one of the Matt Smith episodes. Her daughter was like her assistant in that, I think.
Oh, interesting.
And or maybe even played her daughter in that. But so they got to work together on that, but it was just so weird to see like Diana Rigg as this big, heavy, nasty, evil person in Doctor Who, and so. As a result of that kind of thing and the stuff that she's done that has generated so much fandom, she found out in March that she had cancer, and she's just been
hanging out,
tidying things up and reliving her memories and saying hey to everybody, and she knew she was going to pass away pretty quickly. And her daughter said that that she's just been having a great time knowing that she didn't have much time. So if you gotta go, it's a pretty good way to go.
Yeah.
So Jeff, can you see the document?
I don't know. I can try. Let me see here.
Or do you remember anything that you wanted to talk about from the week?
Yeah, we're sort of at speed round section.
Oh, I see. Okay. The heck? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so today, okay, there we go. And, I can now look at the document. Yay!
Yay!
There we go. Oh, dear. Well, I don't know. Oh, here we go. I can actually click on it. Hopefully it'll bring it up. I'm going to look at it. But at the, which I guess this is still happening, or maybe it ended recently, but the DC Fandom thing.
Yeah, it's the DC Fandom is over.
Okay, so this was during, I think this was during DC Fandom at the time. So they were going to do and I guess I did it, a reenactment of the Adventures of Superman radio serial.
Neat.
No, that's cool.
So that's pretty cool. It was supposed to be going on during DC Fandom, so I don't know if they've made it available anywhere else to listen to it or not, but that'd be really neat to listen to if they did.
Just as a quick aside, if you're watching us on Twitch and you see that Jeff's image is frozen, it's probably because he's on his phone and his phone can only focus on one thing at a time. So as long as you can hear him, that's okay. You'll just have to deal with his very, very strange looking frozen picture. Or conversely, I mean, I guess I could go back. That would work.
I'm talking for me.
So about, I don't know, a month ago, they did by they, I mean a bunch of celebrities.
The ubiquitous they.
A couple months ago, reenacted Princess Bride as a sort of, we're all home for COVID, let's do something. But it was on Kibi, which we don't get, so we didn't watch it. Yeah. But now the actual Princess Bride cast is reuniting for a virtual table read that will benefit. You have to pay. It says pay whatever you want, but you have to pay to listen to it. And it'll benefit the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. So sounds like a really fun fundraiser. And I'm going to look into it to find out whether you can watch it recorded later, because Sunday nights are a challenge for us. But in California, I think it's going to be on at 5 p.m. It's at 6 p.m. Central Time. So I assume it's 5 p.m. Pacific Time, but I need to double check that.
Gotcha.
What you got, Sean?
Cool. Let's see. Gosh, there's so much cool stuff going on. I guess most importantly, the Batman has resumed production, minus Robert Pattinson, who, of course, they've been making a big deal the past few months that he has signed on as Batman. They've been leaking some images so that you get a little confidence in him playing the character. And, of course, there's a trailer that's come out to reinforce that. So we've been getting a lot of information on it. And the minute that all came out, Robert Pattinson got COVID, he got the coronavirus, and now he's quarantined for 2 weeks as they patch him up.
Brother.
So he's apparently okay. They're apparently, taking good care of him, but they're shooting around him now. So,
Okay.
second unit stuff, stunt stuff, things where they don't need him because he's down for the count. So the movie,
boy.
it's hard to pause a film and then restart the film because people go take other jobs. Everybody who works in the film industry is a gypsy, and they go where the money is, and they go where the job is. And so if you want to maintain your same team, you have to keep them going. Otherwise, everybody's going to scatter. And so that's what they're doing here. It seems to be working as near as we can tell. And, we hope that Robert Pattinson's okay. He looks like he's going to do a pretty good job as Batman, although his film looks a little darker than my tastes really want to see Batman from that trailer. So we'll have to see how that shakes out in the final edit. But they're going.
Yeah.
They're stampeding away in the hopes that that it continues to the point where when he's better, he can just add in, sort of tag out with his stunt double. So, and I guess I'll add on to that quickly too. Michael Rooker from Guardians of the Galaxy, Yondu, and he was also in The Walking Dead. He also came down with COVID and has recovered, and he's pretty much known for playing tough guys and guys who let things roll off his back. And he said it was a hell of a battle. So, which is what everybody's been saying who's been picking it up. They said it's just like not a pleasant thing, and please don't get it. So please don't get it.
Jeff,
Oh dear.
you got
Yep.
something else?
Yeah. Let's see here. There's a book coming out. Let's see. I can't remember the fellow's name now. Darn it. This I think Paul Terry is his name, and what he created was an X-Files book, but it's like for the field reports, So it basically reads exactly like you're reading, the reports that they would put down, the agents would put down in the forms and everything, and descriptions and all the stuff. And it's a bunch of it's from all the stories from the show and such.
So it's reinforcing episodes that everybody's seen with additional background and support documents.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. It said it took them 5 years and lots of researching and in collaboration with the people that made the show and everything to bring it about. So
Super cool.
yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'm looking forward to at least flipping through it if I don't have it, but
Yeah, honestly, The X-Files is a show I need to go back and watch. I started to do it when we got Netflix or Amazon or something that had it. I watched the first couple of episodes and something happened. I got interrupted. And because I never watched it in first run, it was like at an inconvenient time or whatever when it started.
Yeah.
And I knew enough so that when I went to a museum that featured Mulder's office set, I had seen it enough so that I recognized his office and that kind of thing, and which was but I feel that it's a show I'd really like based on my enjoyment of things like Twin Peaks. I just never got back to it. So
Yeah.
So the the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences made an announcement about their award show, known as the Oscars.
In case you've never heard of it.
Right.
You know.
And I believe the announcement was made yesterday. And it is, it's a small step towards inclusion in Hollywood, which has been a long time coming. And I applaud this step that they're taking, which is that starting in the year 2024, you will have to meet one of their guidelines in order for your picture to be considered for Best Picture. So this is only going to affect big movies. I mean, like sometimes there are small movies that make it big, but for the most part, it's going to be affecting big movies. But you have to have one of the following criteria. Either your lead or significant supporting actors has to have one that is from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group, or your general ensemble cast, so everybody else in the cast has to have 30% of the actors in secondary and more minor roles from at least two of the following underrepresented groups. And in addition to being ethnic groups, they have racial or ethnic group, which is in the above category. And then they've also got women, LGBTQ plus, or people with cognitive or physical disabilities, or who are deaf or hard of hearing. And then the third option is that your main storyline or subject matter has to be about women, a racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ plus, or people with physical disabilities. And then standard B, now I'm confused about what standard A and standard B are. But
I'm already confused. This is like getting way too into
basically
technical stuff.
It's a super easy bar to reach, but if you don't reach the bar, you will not be considered for Best Picture.
That's interesting. So if you have a story that naturally does not include any of those people,
well,
you have to tell historically, you could be dinged for it.
No, because you only have to meet one of these requirements. So you either have to have a lead or a significant supporting actors who's in one of these groups, or the rest of your cast has to be in one of these other groups, or your subject matter has to be in one of these groups. And then another standard, I think you have to achieve one from standard A and one from standard B. But the one that I think is even possibly more important, and maybe that's because I work in Hollywood, is that the creative leadership and project team, you have to have at least one person behind the scenes, the casting director, the cinematographer, the composer, the costume designer, the director, the editor, the hairstylist, the makeup artist, producer, production designer, set decorator, sound, VFX supervisor, or writer, has to either be a woman, a racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ plus, or with cognitive or physical disabilities. Now, granted, they're really low bars. I mean, one of the bars is someone who's hard of hearing.
Right.
So, and I understand what they're going for, but it would be easy for someone to say, oh, well, I thought you meant hard of hearing meant, this guy who's older.
And has hearing aids.
Yeah, and has a hearing aid.
Right.
So, as opposed to someone who's deaf from birth or something.
And I don't want anybody to get the impression that I think this is a bad idea. It's an interesting level of complication to production that's going to be interesting to see how they handle it.
Well, what's interesting is that the Academy was asked that question. They said, how can you make this decision for us? And they said, you don't have to put your movie in for Best Picture. There are lots of other categories that you can put your movie in, or you don't have to have an Oscar. I think this is a great step forward.
Well, and we're learning a lot about, awards and stuff this week too, with like the Nobel Peace Prize apparently is very easy to nominate people.
Oh God.
And they do.
This is really
and
horrible.
they do
Yeah.
they nominate like 300 people every year, and like one person wins it, and so it's not that big a deal. So yeah, you don't have to go for awards with your
Right.
movie. You can make any movie you want.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go for awards. But
Exactly.
I guess, yeah, having this as
And
a guideline for consideration for Best Picture.
when I'm reading these rules, it sounds like it's super complicated.
It does.
Because I listed all these things. The fact that I had all these things to list is why it's so super easy and the bar is so incredibly low.
Right.
It's a really low bar. But you can imagine that if movies haven't met this before, how the hashtag Hollywood's so white is just spot on.
Oh, completely. Yeah. And it's if you go back to the 60s and 70s and you look at movies, they're like almost an all-white cast, or they're like what they would call blaxploitation films, where it's like you have people of color in these movies, but they're weird, cheesy, violent, kind of culty kind of movies, and not mainstream stuff. And there are so many really terrific performers out there that you want to see people get a shot at stuff. I had somebody approach me after I joined with SAG about some live theater stuff. There's a group in Los Angeles called Theater for the Blind, and they want to take people who have limited visual acuity of any type, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't know where I fall in that, because my eyes are terrible, but
they're better than they used to be.
They're better than they used to be, and I'm not horrifyingly limited by stuff. I mean, there are some jobs I can't do and stuff because of things like that. And so, I'm followed up on it because I personally I feel like I want to take something away from somebody else who might need it more. And it's a weird situation to be in, and I wonder how this is going to translate to film roles and things like that. Although, I don't know, not to be a jerk, but if somebody came to me and go, hey, we need a guy who can't see very well to be in this film, do you want to come do it? I'm like, let me give that some serious thought. When I worked on, and I think I talked about this on the morning show, I worked as an extra on Life Goes On. And when they were shooting the pilot of this show, which was a TV show with Bill Smirnovich and Patti LuPone, and the main actor, the main character of the series was a guy, and I'm blanking on the actor's name, but his character's name was Corky. And he had Down syndrome, and the actor had Down syndrome, and he killed it, basically. He did an amazing job, and they took a risk.
His name is Chris Burke.
Thank you, Chris Burke. And so because this was a pilot, and because they didn't know what they were doing really with this kind of a thing, and this was back in the 1980s, there wasn't the weird delineation that you have between extras and the cast and whatever. So you could approach anybody. Anybody could talk to anybody, and we would shoot we shot a big prom scene that took place in the gym, and it was like a fantasy prom in Corky's head, and so there were stacks of like Twinkies and ding dongs and stuff on the table, and we were all there as teachers and high school kids and that sort of thing. And it was really great because Chris would just come over and sit down and start talking to you because there were no boundaries. And the shot that they took on him to lead this show, which went on for several years and enjoyed a lot of popularity, I really hoped would sort of open Hollywood up a little more to stuff like that. And it just didn't. They're like, oh, well, that was a fluke.
Yeah, the last job he did as an actor was in 2003,
Yeah.
although he is a Goodwill ambassador for the National Down Syndrome Society.
Right. And he's busy, but he's still doing stuff, but he's not acting a lot.
Right.
And that even could be his choice. But I was hoping that Hollywood would go, okay, we don't have to limit ourselves so much. Let's get people who have Downs to play people who have Downs. Let's do that. Blind people to play blind people.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't happen as often as they do.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Do you have a subject you want to talk on?
Oh, let's see here. Yeah, this was something that I scratched my head over, and I was mildly excited for the concept of, but now it turns out apparently to be not true. There's a thing going around the internet that the man who founded Jelly Belly is going to give away a candy factory as part of a Willy Wonka-style golden ticket treasure hunt. And now the key is I'm looking at a news article that has one key word in it, which sort of foreshadows the actual truth of this, which is man who founded Jelly Belly name.
Yeah.
To give away the candy factory. So he's the guy who basically came up with the idea, came up with the name. He sold it.
He didn't come up with the idea of the Jelly Belly. He just came up with the name Jelly Belly.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he
funny.
didn't invent Jelly Belly
Oh.
jelly beans.
Well, that's even sadder.
Yeah. He the candy company was opened in 1869. And David Klein, the sponsor of the treasure hunt, is not associated with the company, its brands, or products. In 1976, he came up with the name Jelly Belly and other novel marketing ideas. And he hasn't had a relationship with them since 1980.
Yeah, he says he came up with the idea, if you look at his page, that he came up with the idea of the Jelly Belly, of this gourmet jelly bean with gourmet flavors. And he runs a series of shops that are called Candyman Kitchens. They're all in Florida, and they're in places like, Clearwater and whatnot. And so he's giving away one of these. And it's interesting, but it's not Belly factory. It's more like a small candy shop. And but he's got a bunch of interesting stuff and
there's a $50 entry fee.
Right.
Oh, well, there you go.
And so I'm looking at Candyman Kitchens, and in keeping with the Jelly Belly novelty of things, he's getting ready for Halloween, for example. So the candy that they're making right now, there's crime scene candy, which are things you would find on a crime scene, zombie boogers, blood clots, Formula P, like P-E-E-P, Uncle Ernie's, and Ernie's is like, the little pots that you put somebody in, vampire ashes, and more. There's pig boogers, dragon boogers, unicorn boogers. So it's weird novelty stuff. But it's very keeping in Wonka, I guess.
Because on their website, they claim that they had them in the 1960s, which is odd because I know they came out in the 1970s.
Well, but, some of this stuff could have been like a local candy thing, like these zombie boogers are not a nationwide thing. And then...
Oh, no, it is... a Los Angeles candy distributor had an idea for a jelly bean made with natural flavorings. So he called up the Herman Gulitz Candy Company, who made the best candies, and sold them the idea.
Okay. So anyway, you can, there's a gold ticket Facebook group. There's a riddle. So what you do is you pay $50. They give you the riddle, and once you solve the riddle, you have a chance to find the ticket. So you have to get it right, and you have to get there before other people do. And each state's treasure hunt has a limit of 1,000 participants, so that it's not a mob scene.
Interesting.
So basically, that's it. And so the idea is, I think, with this $50 fee to get in there, 50 times 1,000 is a fair amount of money, and it's going to pay basically for the shops that they give away.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate the spirit in which it's offered, which is times are weird. Why not make them weirder and fun? So, I don't know. I don't think it's anything I'm going to do. I don't want to move to Florida. I could move to Florida.
No,
but I don't want to move
fun.
to Florida.
Bye.
Colleen's like, and it's divorce.
Okay, Center.
And honestly, I'd want, if I moved to Florida, I'd want an Orlando one, because,
Also, I feel like $50 is too much for entry.
Yeah.
If it were going to charity, then sure.
Right. Well, that's the thing about Omaze.
Well, maybe not even
is
sure.
if you give $10 to Omaze for a charity to win something, at least you're donating to charity. Even if you don't win, you feel like you did something worthwhile.
Right.
And that's cool. This isn't even that. This sounds like, and I've been seeing a lot of this. I don't want to sidetrack too seriously here, but I've been seeing a lot of these things where people are like, I am going to sell this thing and give a very small percentage to charity and take all the rest of the money. And I know things are really, really tough. And as a guy who has a GoFundMe that he's not pursuing right now because times are tough, I kind of get it. But I see people, like somebody just sold their Mandalorian Stormtrooper armor at auction. Now, these kits cost us about $1,000. Even if you go to what's its face, a Novos. And you buy a set of Stormtrooper armor, it's under $1,000, I think, assembled. And so they had this kit. They went on the Mandalorian, so it's on TV, and they sold it as part of a Star Wars auction. And I think they got something like $12,000 for it.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good return on investment. But honestly, there's not much special about this armor. It's just the same stuff that you buy everywhere. And, okay, it was in the Mandalorian, but go find it. Which one is it, right? So, I was surprised that, they made that much off of it. And to my knowledge, it wasn't a thing done for charity. It was just like, hey, I bet I could cash in on this. And that just kind of makes me sad, because the 501st Legion and the groups that we do a lot of, Rebel Legion, we do charity stuff with, it's about charity. We buy these costumes so we can go do charity. And this was the complete antithesis of that to me. So, I don't know. But I'm just surprised it worked. Somebody wanted to pay that much money.
I don't know if it worked.
It did.
Oh, you mean the armor?
The armor worked.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they sold it for amount considerably higher than they paid for it.
Wow.
I mean, our Stormtrooper armor was $350.
Yeah.
And that would be a pretty serious return on investment to get $12,000 back.
I don't think you could get Stormtrooper armor for $350 anymore.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Jeff, do you have something else you want to talk about?
Yeah. There was a video, what's a commercial, but Ryan Reynolds has been doing stuff for his own stealth company, I guess it's his own, or he represents them, called Mint.
He bought Mint Mobile.
Yeah. And so he got Rick Moranis to be in the commercial.
It was a pretty fun commercial.
Yeah. And so I was like, hey, cool. We finally got Rick Moranis back. Yay.
Our friend Rizwan actually works for that company, for Mint Mobile.
Yeah, he does.
So every time Ryan Reynolds does something fun like that, Rizwan always posts it on Facebook and goes, oh my God, you guys look.
Well, and the idea of this cell phone company is that it's not a giant major company, and they're going to charge you less. So it's like I guess $30 for unlimited for the service, and so they did the little comedy thing with Rick Moranis, and honestly, they're like outside in a field doing this thing, which is pretty funny, and
Yeah.
It's a field of mint, I think.
and they joke back and forth about it. And in the comments, people were making comments going, Mint Mobile did what nobody else could and brought Rick Moranis out of retirement. And then somebody made the obligatory joke, which was, Honey, I Shrunk the Phone Bill, to which Ryan Reynolds immediately responded, thank you for saying that, because legally I wasn't allowed to.
Exactly. And like, I think Josh Gad was like, thank you so much for bringing him back. Oh my gosh. And so like, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the Josh Gad thing. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Josh Gad did the Ghostbusters Reunited Apart, right? And I don't think Moranis showed up on that.
No.
Yeah, so Josh Gad must be like, what?
What?
Why'd you do that?
Well, honestly, I hope they paid Rick Moranis a whole big chunk of money.
Yeah.
Because he deserves it.
Yep. So there is much outcry in the last 2 days in the county of Los Angeles that Halloween has been canceled.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we will all die.
Well, it was canceled and then
reality-
it was mildly uncanceled.
Well, in reality, what happened is that people started talking on Facebook and other places about, hey, are you going trick-or-treating this year? And so the county of LA put out an order saying trick-or-treating and trunk-or-treating are prohibited under the COVID Act because it's dangerous. There's no way to physically distance appropriately at either one of these events. And I guess the hue and cry was so big that within hours, LA County walked it back and said, okay, well, it's just a suggestion. And then in the order/suggestion, they talked about all the things that you could do instead. The things that you can do that are like having online parties and costume competitions and
non-contact Halloween events.
Yeah, and you could have a car parade, or you could have you could socially distanced restaurant eating outside. So basically all the stuff that you're allowed to do right now.
Right. You can still do.
Yeah. But honestly, I gotta say, I'm with the county of LA on this. I can't, and I got into it last night with some people who were like, oh, but trick-or-treating, you're not around them for that long. And I'm like, come and stand on my porch.
Yeah.
My porch is tiny, and every Halloween, I have at least one, if not more than one, tiny tot who gets excited when we open the door and there's a turtle inside and runs into our house. Or, they can see all the Star Wars crap.
Well, and we have people who bring their babies in Star Wars costume to take pictures with our car and to say hi to us in costume. And we
invite people inside.
Yeah, we have people in the neighborhood who have kids who are differently abled, and we invite them in. Or I fight kids on the lawn with lightsabers. Or there's all sorts of stuff.
Now that LA has walked it back, I was glad that they prohibited it, because then we would be able to put up our displays, like a Halloween display, and kind of, like watch Halloween movies or something and kind of enjoy the evening. Whereas now we're going to have to darken our whole house and pretend not to be home.
Or put stanchions at the driveway or do something. I mean, because, I had been giving consideration to how to catapult candy to kids from my porch, or find a way to... I was talking with Dustin today and had suggested doing a clothesline with clothespins on it where you put a snack and you roll it out to the kids and they can pull it off and you roll it back and you reload it. There's all sorts of ways to do this where you can get candies there.
Yeah.
But I don't want some kid or parent risking their family for like a fun-size candy bar.
Yeah.
And I don't want us risking us to hand it out.
And I mean, the thing is that a lot of people are suggesting that parents should do kind of the Easter basket thing for Halloween and hide it somewhere in the house, or, do a scary movie thing or something like that. And my sadness at that is that one of the joys of getting candy from trick-or-treating is the huge variety that you get that you just can't get by buying a couple of bags.
Right.
So I mean, I'm sure some wealthier parents will be able to put together a Halloween basket, no problem. But I was like, if any of my friends have kids, I'll mail you some candy. And then, if different people mail candy, then it'll all be different. And it'll be like trick-or-treating.
We can make little candy grenades and throw them on the porch as you drive by.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, and I've also been having a problem. So like on my Facebook page, people have been going nuts, and they're like, yeah, you know how to get around that. Just dress as a protester, and then you can go out. And I'm like, okay, dress as a protester. What do they do with protesters? They turn hoses on them. Come by my house, dude. Let's see how that's going to work for you. And I'll tell you the reason that I think it's better to find ways to stay home and to minimize contact, just go on Google and do a search for party COVID died. And you will get so many articles back from all around the country of all of these people who went, well, I went to a party in protest, and I'm not going to let people stop me from having my fun. And then they die 3 or 4 days later, and almost always their last words are, I guess I shouldn't have gone to that party. I'm so sorry I put everyone at risk. And, Halloween, for most of my life, has been like my thing. And, sometimes I get a little depressed over it and I don't do much. And sometimes I go crazy. And we used to help our friend Dave do insane haunted houses every year, which were super fun. And they'd count people who came through, and it was like that kind of a big deal. I love that stuff. I live for that kind of stuff. And we cancel our plans on Halloween to do this stuff because if we're not home, we hear about it the rest of the year from the people in the neighborhood. Well, we came by your house and you weren't there, and you completely ruined our Halloween. And, we brought our family in Star Wars. And one year, some guy he dressed as a Jedi. He brought his dad dressed as a Jedi. His dad had just emigrated into the country from like El Salvador, and it was his first Halloween. And he dressed as a Jedi, and he brought him back. And then they came back an hour or two later with their baby also dressed as a Jedi. So 3 generations of Star Wars. And they came to the house to take a picture with us. And, it's like, it's a crazy thing. So we'll see how it goes. And I don't want people getting sick over Halloween. And I don't want people to have the memory of losing people on Halloween because they had to go out and collect candy. It's a really crappy thing. We are just about at the top of the hour here, so let's sign off for the radio. The show will run, of course, for overtime as long as we decide to talk. But to close things out for the replay, thanks to Boba Kit Sovine, who's been doing all of our cool links. Thanks to you guys for being here. All sorts of great conversation over on Facebook and on Twitch has been really great. Jeff made it. It is his birthday. Happy birthday, Jeff!
Happy birthday!
And people have been saying happy birthday over on the feed also.
It was Owen's birthday yesterday too.
What's
Happy
that?
birthday, Owen!
Oh, wow.
Owen's birthday yesterday.
I didn't realize you guys were like a day apart. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. So tomorrow I'll be on the air for Good Morning Tatooine. That'll be 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We can wrap out the week, which is fun as always. We will do this again next week. We're very grateful to all you guys for tuning in. We know that Thursday's a weird night. You can do whatever you want, and we appreciate it that you're hanging out with us. And that, I guess, is that.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Soledadaho.
And I am Sean, Sean Crosby. As always, may the force
be
with you.
I'm not sure that's fine, right?
Close enough. Jeff's got natural delay built in.
Yeah.
That's funny. Which makes it really bad for when, like, I love seeing people try to sing karaoke on Zoom. where you like hear the music and then there's 2 seconds of delay and they're like la la la, and it's like, wow, you were so off. You were like not even close. And it's not their fault. It's just the delay inherent with everybody signing in. Chris and Laura say happy Porg Day, Jeff. And Talon Thorne says happy birthday. And all sorts of folks. Well, good night, Mela. Mela's leaving. Bye.
Night, Mela.
Mela, who is in Oregon. You probably passed her.
Oh, wow. Could be. Who knows?
She moved up there, and she's been posting pictures of the scary orange sky. I don't know why I didn't play that on my show this morning. I totally should have.
Scary orange sky?
Orange-colored sky, which is a Nat King Cole song. I totally could have played that. But yeah, oh my gosh. It's been a thing. Did we want to keep going with the
document?
Yes, the list, the thing.
We're almost out.
We are.
Yeah.
I think it's my turn. Is it, or is it your turn? I don't remember what the last topic.
I talked about trick-or-treating.
Oh, trick-or-treating,
yeah,
that's
it's
right.
your turn.
Okay. I'm going to bring up something that I found super, super interesting on the Boing Boing site. They came up with something that we are usually not privy to see. So the movie industry is, in fact, an industry. They have to sell a product like anything else. It's gotten a little easier because things are digital, where you can just download a movie and then exhibit it in your theater, as opposed to having to send prints around the country. Because prints used to be limited, and you used to have to book it into your theater, and you would have to do it for a certain length of time. You would have to do it in the format that your projectors could handle and decide what kind of a commitment you were making, and then you would kind of like rent the movie to do that. And so back in the day, when Ghostbusters was new, they made an ad that was directly targeted to the film exhibitors conference that was going on in Las Vegas. And so everybody was trying to sell their movie, trying to get everybody to book it. And it came at a time where Bill Murray, who was a huge comedy star in the early 1980s for film, but he was doing a lot of like kind of inexpensive, crappy movies. Caddyshack was pretty good, but then you had something like, say, Meatballs, where they obviously didn't throw a lot of money at these movies, and they were funny, and they brought people into the theater, and they made a lot of money hand over fist and whatever. But they were not Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was a big budget genre picture, and everybody knew that. And they're like, we don't know how it's going to play, but it's got Dan Aykroyd, who's huge. It's got Bill Murray, who is huge. And it should have been a big movie on its own. But just to cover their butts, they made this movie and sent it over to Las Vegas. And you've got these two Saturday Night Live alums next to each other who are basically winging it. They know what they have to say, but they don't have a script per se. And so Bill Murray is the one who's making the kind of impassioned pitch going, we know we spent a lot of money on this. We know it's a more expensive movie, but we think it's worth it. We tried really hard. We think you're going to like it, and it's not a mistake if you book this movie. And Dan Aykroyd is on the other side going, hey, I hope you're having a good time in Reno. Reno? Oh, Las Vegas. I hope you're having fun in Las Vegas. And you're playing with the little cubicle things with the dots on them. I hope that's working out for you. And and by the end of it, he's lost it, where he's like, and when you leave here and you book that picture, Columbia Pictures will have a very special somebody waiting in your hotel room for you, courtesy of Columbia and the Coca-Cola Bottling Company.
You know, that video was taken down.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
When I went to go look at it.
Oh, it's gone. Oh my God, it's gone. I wish I'd saved it. It was so great. I'm sure Columbia and Coke jumped on it and took it down. We already talked about how Coke got rid of the beer sales at Florida. I'm sure if they saw that their name was connected with Dan Aykroyd telling them there would be hookers in their hotel room, that they would take it down. But oh my gosh, it was so super cool. Hopefully we can find another place. But yes, you're right. I clicked on it. It's gone.
I thought that was on the latest Blu-ray as like a bonus feature.
I don't think it is. They had something else on it. And one of the other things that is still there is there is a theme song that was used in this trailer. And so if you click on the video of the link that Kit has, the second video at the bottom is still there. That has this not Ray Parker Jr. Ghostbusters song that's just awful. And you can hear some of the dialogue from that movie in that song, where they tried to reconstruct like 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes of this song. And still it's not the complete thing. But if this had been the song that had released with the movie as like the hit single, it would have been awful. It's like a train wreck of a temp piece of music. But anyway, it's a fascinating look. It's a really great look at some characters that we really love. And if we find that it gets posted elsewhere, we will try to make that available to you guys. We'll remind you next week to go take a look at it, because it was really funny. And I'm sad they took it down. I understand why, but I'm sad they took it down. From a cultural standpoint, it's 30 years out of date. 35 years out of date. It's bad. And it's obviously a thing directed at a largely male audience at a big industry convention. But anyway, it's an interesting look at the film thing. And you know, it was a really kind of honest, impassioned plea from Bill Murray, and you don't see that very often either. Kind of liked it. Anyway, sorry that's missing.
I was bummed that I didn't get to see it.
Oh, well, if I find it again, like I said, I'll make it available to people.
Okay.
We'll figure something out.
Jeff, you got anything else?
Not really. I feel this cool stuff here, but you know, not really. No, I'm looking at it like, I didn't watch the video with Phil Goldblum and Sam Neill. It looked like it'd be cute, but I didn't see that either. But
I didn't either.
Nothing really like.
I
don't see anything that's like, oh God, it is.
There's apparently a Back to the Future Hill Valley cookbook.
Oh, there you go.
So like Hill Valley in the 1800s or across time?
It says 65 time-traveling recipes from the past, present, and future.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm picturing hair with buckshot.
Right. It's
and
jello molds.
Rusty water and pie.
Pie, right. Frisbee pie.
Frisbee. Cool. Or groovy, whatever he said. Yeah, and I guess 50s food?
Yeah, I mean, you could really be all over the map with that. But that doesn't mean it's any good, right? Well, you can't make tab. You have to buy tab.
That's true.
But, I mean, we could easily go back and take a look at whatever
here
is
the table of contents
on the
that
plate.
Is too small to read. Can I make it bigger?
Nice.
No, I can't. Oh, they have dumb things.
They have pie on the front that has a flux capacitor picture in it.
Right, but they've got, it's like the Star Wars cookie book that has Wookiee cookies, which is take a regular cookie and call a Wookiee cookie.
Hoverboard cookies, which are cookies in the shape of hoverboards, and they're pink. Um,
Okay, Enchantment Under the Sea Punch looks fun. A 1950s punch. Uncle Joey's Parole Cake. Okay, that wins.
that's cool. Doc Brown's time-altering chicken pot pie, which is the thing that's got a flux capacitor in the top of it.
Okay, from the 1880s, they have fried chicken. I'm going to say that they really should have hair with buckshot.
Yeah.
Instead of
I
fried
mean,
chicken.
that would be way cooler.
That would be more accurate.
Uncle Jailbird Joey.
And mini pizzas a la 2015. Oh my God, that was 2015.
Yes, everything that was in the future is now no longer in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
The hoverboard cookies look really stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, they do have the table of contents, but it is too small to read.
It is way too small to read. I'm trying to see if I can. I can't even open it in a new window to do it. So
even when you make it bigger, I can't read what it says. But it does have 1985, 1955, 2015, alternate 1985, and 1885.
Yeah, it's just griping at me every time I try to make it bigger. It's like, sorry, our images are copyrighted. I'm like, well, fine.
I figured.
We don't need to talk about your book.
It's too late. We already did.
Yeah. So this
There's
is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, I was looking at the document, and there's something kind of interesting, but I don't think it's anything like the game that you had.
Nope, it isn't.
No, it's not. It's not.
On a mansion called Spirits board game, it looks neat, but nothing at all like the game you had.
Funko Pop has a game that they're coming out with, and they've been releasing lots of games, by the way, with little Funko figures in them. Funko's been doing some really interesting stuff. But this game involves Madame Leota's. You go through every room, kind of like Clue, and in the center is Madame Leota's seance room that's on a spinner that can turn, which is kind of cool. And they've got a little hitchhiking ghost piece, and they've got the.
I would play it.
Yeah, well,
I'm
and
not
I like
excited the way I would be if it was the game we had when we were kids.
No, and I like that the pieces that you move around that represent you are the bat stanchions, which is super cool.
Yeah.
But it's not the one we had when we were kids that had a giant 3D backdrop. The whole thing was something like 18 inches high. It represented the entire haunted mansion, and in cool, creepy fashion, as you rolled the dice and moved your doom buggies, you could get on these platforms that were all geared together. So when you spun one, 4 other ones turned, and it changed the game board every time you did it. And that was super cool and super fun. And if somebody who has one of those will let me scan the damn thing, I can recreate it, and I can even put it up there on the internet for other people to recreate. I have been trying to buy one for about 15 years now, and I can't. The ones that are in really good shape are way overpriced, and the ones that are in crappy shape aren't worth taking a stab at. So it's been really frustrating. But Funko, in addition to doing this whole series of games, and you can walk through Target and see a whole bunch of them, they are doing something that I'm almost sorry I didn't get involved in when I first heard about it, because they've gotten really neat. But I'm also glad that I haven't gotten involved in, because this would be a thing that took up space. They're doing something right now that's called Funko Town. And Funko Town is a Funko Pop figure that comes with the building which it's connected to. So now there's a Haunted Mansion one, and it comes with the little butler guy that you usually see helping you into the ride, who looks suspiciously like he could be Maynard.
Well, that would be awesome.
Because he's a little bald guy, and there's no reason for making him bald, except that it might be Maynard, who's one of the most well-known cast members at Disneyland. But it comes with the Haunted Mansion building. And so there's a whole series of these that come with these buildings, and you could set up a little town. And, you know, if we had a really huge living room and lived in a giant house, I would put these things around the Christmas tree and run a train through them. I mean, they're super cool. and they've picked something from Disney, and they're doing it. There's a castle, and there's like a bunch of different things. Yoda, there's one with Yoda with his little hut house thing, and they're pretty neat. I think they're $40 a set, and it's like their version of Department 56 that makes the little Christmas villages. And yeah, you could do some neat stuff with them. But I'm also kind of glad I didn't start in on those things.
Yeah.
There is, in fact, nowhere to put them in our house.
They had some with cool cars, too, that I also didn't get involved in, like Speed Racer with the Mach 5 and that kind of thing. And I didn't get in on that either, because I'm like, where am I going to put them? They're super cool. They're super fun. I have no space. So.
And I appreciate your recognizing the lack of space before making a purchase like that.
Yes. You don't know how hard it was for me to not buy that Galaxy's Edge Lego set the other day. At Target. It was sitting right there. It was staring me down. I'm like, it's in my hands. I just have to walk it 10
But you haven't made your
feet to the
last Lego
registers.
set.
I have not finished my last Lego set, and that's true. So, and I have also not restructured this room for display the way I kept saying I was going to do during COVID. I started, and then I hit a brick wall, and I have yet to do it again.
Can you restructure it for display with me sitting in the middle of it working?
Well, that's part of it. Yeah, that's part of why I haven't. I'd have to kick you out to do it, or do it on the weekends where we are, mostly just sitting on the couch watching television.
Right.
And honestly, so much of my energy is focused on replacing my car, because the car I have now is starting to die. The 350Z Nissan, it's been sputtering and getting weird, and it's starting to demand mechanical repairs that I don't want to pay for. I would rather put that money towards a new car. So I've narrowed it down to 2, and that's what I did this weekend. Is I spent a lot of time doing designs for the secondary car I'm looking at. There's a Lexus, which is really fun and sports coupey and very neat. And then there's a hybrid that I'm considering as maybe the more responsible thing, because we get so much attention that I feel it would be a cool thing to go, look, I took a hybrid and I made a art car. I made a fun thing out of it, because no one looks at electric cars unless it's something like the BMW i8, which is a sports car, or maybe the Fisker Karma or something that is a sports car. Nobody looks at electric cars as something fun like that. They're very utilitarian. It's like, I have a Prius. And so I kind of want to break that mold, and I have for a very long time, and would be glad to do it with a Tesla were they affordable on the secondary market. So that's what I did with my weekend, is I did designs up where I did the moldy crow from Dark Forces on this car, which looked kind of neat. But nobody knows what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to give up on that idea. Because people are like, I love that, but no one will recognize it.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah.
I recognize it because I used to play that game, but nobody else will recognize it. So we'll see. And that's the thing, we're sort of waiting for all of this COVID stuff to lift, where they start letting us get back together in small groups. Because Jeff's got his car to work on, and you've been working on the inside of it.
A little here and there, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. You were at DD's discounts, and you showed me some lighting that you saw at your particular DD's. Did you buy that, or did you leave it there?
No, I haven't, but it'll probably still be there. But yeah.
Because my local DD's have a tiny car section now with none of that stuff.
Okay.
So if you see it and you want it, you should buy it right now.
Okay.
Because they're running out of it.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. Okay.
Let's see. This thing looks really weird to me. I guess Disney is thinking of doing a reboot of Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Why would that be weird for you? I mean, why would you think that was weird?
I don't know. There was a certain like naive charm about him doing like his daily sort of blog or journal on his computer, which nobody was doing at the time, and things like that. And now it's like it's going to be a kid with like his daily TikTok updates or something.
Yeah, I guess that would be kind of ickier.
And they're changing it a little. So instead of Doogie Howser, it is Doogie Kamealoha, MD. So I guess he's in Hawaii.
And is Doogie still a boy?
Let's find out.
Ah,
Courtney Kang will write. It is a 10-episode half-hour comedy, so it's a limited thing. We'll follow Lahela Doogie Kamealoha, a mixed-race 16-year-old girl, as she juggles a budding medical career with normal teenage dramas. Guiding Lahela and also complicating matters is her family, including her Spitfire Irish mother, who's also her supervisor at the hospital, and her Hawaiian local boy father, who struggles to accept that Lahela is no longer his little girl. There you go. So it's a limited series, so we'll have to see what happens. The original Doogie Howser ran for 4 seasons, but here I think they're just going to do the 10 episodes. I guess distilled like that and telling a complete story could be fun. But I don't know. I don't know how well the original Doogie Howser holds up these days. I can't remember the last time I saw an episode of Doogie Howser.
It's been a really long time.
Usually I see people making fun of it. That's cool.
I don't have anything else.
I don't think so either. Yeah. And since Jeff is on vacation and celebrating his birthday, we should cut him loose.
We should.
So thanks for sticking around for some overtime. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thanks for calling in, Jeff. I'm glad you got the chance to say hey and hi and whatever. When do you come back?
We're gonna be driving back on Sunday, so
you'll be back next week.
Sometime Sunday night, Monday early or something. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, we'll have you call in per regular. There we go. They can see you again. You were frozen, so I just had you up as the porg.
Okay.
And we'll have you on the show as normal next Thursday and play catch up, find out how the rest of your trip was. You've been taking really amazing pictures so far, so maybe we'll share some of those next week and whatnot. So that will be cool. For everybody who tuned in this long, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I'm going to throw up the credits here. I think they got silence once I put the credits on. It got quiet. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. We greatly appreciate it. And we're just gonna throw stuff around the studio. Whoops. And we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.